Hi, my name is Catherine, and I'm going to be demonstrating some stretches for you. I am not a medical professional. I haven't had any formal training. I'm just someone who's dealt with back pain and has sought help for it. I find these things to be helpful for me. I hope they are helpful for you. Nothing should cause any discomfort or injury or hurt. If you find that it is, please stop. And if you have any questions, do check in with a professional of yourself. I am hoping that these will help you. I find them helpful for me, so let's get started. The first ones are done standing up, and then the second ones can be done standing or seated. So let's get started. This one is a move that I learned from yoga, and it's very good for your lower back. There's a deep muscle called the QL, which supports your core. And my physiotherapist calls it the Harry Potter muscle because the full name is quadratus lumbarum, which sounds like a spell. I'm not sure I'm sounding it right, but it does sound pretty funny. And this is how it looks. You're going to stretch up your arms. Make sure that your shoulders feel like they're getting a stretch as well. Really reach towards the ceiling, but not so that you're causing yourself any discomfort. Drop one arm, look to the side, push out your hip, and lean over. Then you're going to do the other side. Now, when you're stretching, a lot of times you'll hear that you should be holding the stretches. So I try to hold them for 20 to 30 seconds, or if I don't feel like counting or if I don't have a timer, by taking 5 deep breaths. I'm not going to be doing that in this video just because I have a list that I want to do and I don't want the video to be too long. But keep in mind about 20 to 30 seconds, as long as you're feeling comfortable, that tends to be really good for getting a good stretch. The second stretch is a variation on the first one. Again, it's going to help that lower back muscle, the QL, and also the neck and shoulders. So you're going to stretch up your arms, put one arm on your hip, and lean over, but this time you look forward. And the other side. Try not to twist your core. The tricky thing with stretches is sometimes if you do them wrong, you can end up hurting yourself. So if you feel anything that's causing discomfort, stop. And there are lots of good resources online, as long as you look at ones that are written by professionals and not just general fitness blogs, or you can check in with a physiotherapist or an athletic therapist. Those are really good resources too. The third stretch, you'll notice that I'm standing in a doorway, and that's because this is a stretch that my massage therapist showed me that requires some support. You're going to take your arms and make sure that your forearms are braced against the doorway fully. So from your wrist to your elbow should be leaning against the door on both sides. And you're just going to gently lean forward, and you'll really feel that stretch in your chest. And what's really fun about this exercise is, for one thing, you don't really have to do much. You just lean forward and let the doorway stretch you out, but you can also move your arms up and down, and it will stretch different areas of your chest for you. What I find really interesting when I'm doing these stretches is that sometimes I will feel muscles I wasn't aware of being stretched while I'm doing something, and I just find that really interesting to get a sense of how your body works with your muscles and your nerves and your bones and joints all interconnected. And the next stretch we're going to do is for your hip flexors, which are right in here where your leg meets your waist. And something that's really interesting is if these muscles here are tight, it can actually hurt your lower back. So we're going to step one leg back and the other leg forward. Put our hands on our hips. The leg that is stepped forward, you're going to bend it slightly, just enough so that you feel a stretch in the hip flexor of the leg that's leaned back. Don't stretch too far. Careful to keep the rest of your back straight. And then when you're done, you're going to bend this knee, you're going to straighten this knee, step forward, and then we'll go back and do the other side. If you spend a lot of time sitting, these muscles can get really tight. So stretching them is really a good way to just refresh your body. Then the final standing stretch is one for the front of your thighs. It gets a little bit into the hip flexor here as well. Make sure you're holding on to something. I'm holding on to the door frame. And you're going to reach one leg back, grab your ankle with your hand, and just gently pull until you feel the stretch in your thigh. And there's no requirement for balance in this one, so you don't get extra points if you're not holding on to something, so don't feel ashamed if you have to hold on to something. Sometimes you see fancy yoga or exercise poses online where people are doing crazy things without their body. One of the famous yoga poses is, I don't actually know the name, but you see people with their arms extended overhand and one leg on the ground only and one leg leaning on their other. I don't do that. I've actually never been to a yoga class where that was encouraged, because you want to feel good after this. You don't want to risk hurting yourself. The next set of exercises you can do standing if you choose, but you can also do them seated. I've got a stool here to demonstrate. And the first one is a neck stretch. So be gentle with this because you don't want to overextend the neck muscles here. They are delicate. There's also a set of muscles right at the base of your skull that meet your neck. They're called the suboccipitals. They're very tiny muscles and they're very easy to strain, especially if you lean forward like that quite often. I actually strained mine yesterday, so you might be able to tell when I'm showing these stretches if you see some pain on my face or if I'm not moving very much. It's because I hurt myself yesterday because I wasn't being careful. So this stretch isn't really going to target these. It's hard to target these muscles, but that's something to be aware of if you feel like you're getting a lot of neck pain, to talk to your doctor about. Is anything that can affect this area can be very painful. But your muscles in the side of your neck tend to get strained really easily too because they're smaller muscles. So this is a good stretch for targeting those. You're going to make a fist with one hand and put it right into the small of your back, just above your waist, or pardon me, at the bottom of your waist. And you're going to take your other hand and put it on the side of your head, right about here, above your ear, and just very gently pull your neck to the side as you stretch out this shoulder. Try to keep your torso straight as you do this. And to the other side. It's very interesting because I'm watching myself on my phone as I record this, and I don't usually watch myself while I stretch anymore, but I'm finding this helpful to watch myself now because I can make sure I do the poses correctly. And if you're starting to do a stretch regimen, it is helpful to do that in front of a mirror if you can, to make sure that you've got proper posture. So the next stretch is, again, very simple, and it's just a neck stretch. And all you're doing is turning and looking at the side. This is also going to help the muscles at the base of your neck, where your neck meets your shoulder. And you can do it more than once if you like. And you can do a variation of that first neck stretch if you like, just like this. And then you can also do a neck roll. Again, just be careful with this. You don't want to overextend any muscles. One way and the other. Then the next stretch is really going to target your shoulders, especially a little bit into the neck, but mostly shoulders, upper back. And you're just going to grab one wrist with the other, tilt your neck to the side, and gently pull that wrist in the same direction that your neck is turned. And again. And just a reminder, I'm moving pretty quickly, but you can hold these poses for 20 to 30 seconds or for 5 deep breaths for optimal stretching. I'm also only showing one set of most of them, but you can do 2 or 3 sets as much as you like, as long as you're not overworking yourself or hurting yourself. Some people I've heard too will do certain stretches on one day and certain on the other, whatever works for you. Again, just keep in mind I haven't had any formal training. These are things that just happen to work for me. The next stretch is really going to target your shoulder and your upper back as well. All you're going to do is stretch your arm forward, grab your elbow, and pull your arm towards your chest. Not too hard. Side. Okay, and then we're going to do a gentle shoulder roll. Just roll your shoulders back. At least 3 times. You can do probably as many as you want, as long as it's not hurting you. Might get a little boring after a while just to sit there rolling your shoulders. And then the next one is for your sciatic nerve and your lower back. So you've probably heard the term sciatica. I don't know the actual definition. What I can tell you for me that it means is it's lower back pain that affects a nerve in the lower back, and the pain ends up stretching from your back down your leg. And it's a harder area to target. If you spend a lot of time sitting, what happens, it sounds like your nerves can just get pressure put on them. So stretching them is a good way to relieve that. And this is a nice stretch you can do while seated. I'm seated right here. I'm going to take one leg and rest the ankle on that knee and tuck in your chin so you don't strain your neck. Keep your back straight and lean forward. My muscles are very tight right now, so I'm not leaning very far forward, but I can really feel that stretch. Then to the other side. Great. I'm going to finish up with 2 more exercises that you can do standing or seated. I'm going to demonstrate them standing just so that you can see a little bit better what I'm doing, but you can do them seated as well. This first one is a really, really good quick stretch for your whole back, your shoulders and lower back especially, but your whole back. And all you do is grasp your hands behind your back. Don't flex out your elbows. Keep them straight. Keep them straight like this. Don't do this. Do this. And just lift them as high as feels comfortable. If you're doing this for the first time, try lifting your arms gradually so that you're not accidentally overextending it, but just lift them a little higher at a time. This is how high I've got my arms. But if you can only lift them to here, that's fine too. Lift them as comfortable, as high as feels comfortable for you. And then again, one more very general one. You're going to put both hands in the small of your back like this and just lean backwards, push out your shoulders. And just lean back as gentle and as far as you feel comfortable. I keep saying one more. I do have another one that I just remembered, and this is a really good stretch and a really good way to move your shoulders if they've been still for a while. So I'm moving back a little bit so you can see a bit better. Reach your arms up. When you reach your arms up, reach them up as high as you feel comfortable doing. We tend to have our shoulders, sit down a lot because that's just the way our bodies are. So when you lift them up, it really tends to feel good and it just loosens up those muscles. Turn your hands forward and pretend to be climbing a rock wall. So go like this. And that's going to kind of roll the shoulders so it loosens them up. And I'm going to do one more shoulder roll. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, I really encourage you to talk to a massage therapist, an athletic therapist, a physiotherapist, a sports medicine doctor, or a chiropractor. Those people will all have wonderful resources for you. They've definitely helped me over the years, and I hope that they help you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to do this video.